All right, today we're going to tie a tarpon bunny. It's a very effective tarpon fly down here in the Florida Keys. We're going to be doing a chartreuse variation of it. The materials that we're using today are select marabou plumes, crosscut rabbit, and regular rabbit strips. We're going to be tying that on a SL12S short shank #1. You can also put this on a different size hook if you want. 1/0s are also very popular hooks. I'm going to start as always by laying down my thread base. I like to wrap back till right about where my thread is even with the barb on the hook. Now we're going to take a piece of our rabbit strip here. Make sure that the fur is going back towards the bend on your hook. And it's going to be flesh side up, fur side down. We're going to measure out a section here. I like to use this piece here on my vise for my measurement. You're going to have to figure out your own measurements depending on which vise you're using and how long or large you want your pattern to be. That's about the right length for me. So now we're going to go ahead and tie this in. All right. Once we have that tied down, I like to add a little clump of marabou on the top. So that's what we have this select marabou for. I'll pick a feather out here. Take a section off of the side here. Just start peeling it away and clumping it up as I do that. All right, I'm going to take this section, I'm going to tie it in. I want it to be just slightly shorter than the fur on the rabbit and a touch longer than the flesh side.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
All right, so we're going to take our section of marabou here. We're going to line it up. We want it to be just a touch shorter than the fur on the rabbit strip, but a touch longer than the flesh section. So we want those tips to line up somewhere there in the middle. Right about there looks good to me. Go ahead and tie these in. Once we get those secured, we're going to cut these. I like to pull it up at about a 45-degree angle and then cut flat with the scissors. That'll give you a little bit of a taper so that it creates more of a ramp instead of a dramatic drop-off on your shank here when you tie it in. All right, wrap back here. So now that we got those tied in, make sure that your marabou's lined up nicely with your rabbit strip. We're going to take both of those and lift up like that. And now we're going to be posting it. So we're going to wrap our thread up and around just the marabou and the rabbit here. We're just going to do that and work those thread wraps up the marabou and the rabbit strip. Now we're going to give it a couple wraps back down. So things like to twist a little bit on you when you use this posting method, so just kind of clean it up there, make sure it's nice and straight in the way you like it. But you'll see I have this section here, so now it is much harder for any of this to get caught on that hook and foul while you're casting. So now, next step, and if you want to as well, if you're worried about things shifting in that post, or you just kind of want to make sure that it stays exactly where it's at, nothing comes undone, you can take a touch of this brush on super glue and then just dab that post there. It's not a necessary step. It can just help the longevity of your fly. And the glue I'm using is this Wapsi fly tire Z-ment. Give that a second there to dry while I prepare my crosscut. So I'm going to take the crosscut rabbit strips. Today I am using a fluorescent neon yellow from Hairline. All right, so when you're wrapping anything fly tying, you always want to go the same direction that you wrap your thread. So being right-handed, I wrap my thread away from me, so that is the same direction that your rabbit needs to wrap, is away from you. So I'm going to line this up so that that crosscut rabbit, the fur is facing the back of the shank, it's facing back here, and line it up so that I can tie away from me. So I'm going to take this first bit here, right by my post, and I'm going to tie that in, and then work my thread up to the eye of the hook. So now you can just let it hang like that if you don't have one, but if you have one of these bars, it'll make things a lot easier. You can just hang your thread off of that bar. So now I'm going to wrap this crosscut rabbit up the shank, till I'm right at the eye of the hook. So I'm going to hold it in place with my thumb and trim just above it, just like that. Now I'm going to keep that in place with my thumb, trap it with my thread, and go ahead and secure it down to the shank. Now I'm just covering up all those little bits of the rabbit flesh that are still sticking out, so I have a nice clean head. I'm going to do a whip finish. Trim my thread there. Now to finish it off, I'm going to do one more step here that isn't necessary, but will give you a more durable fly with a little bit of a prettier finish. So I'm going to use this brush on UV resin. It is the Solarez thin bone dry formula. Get that all the way around. Spin that so it doesn't pool up on me. And then hit it with the UV light. That's it. Take a brush and brush it out, make it look pretty. And there you have it, a tarpon bunny.